All right, today we've got this incredible story that's part history lesson, part thriller, and honestly, a huge case study on leadership. We're talking about a king who had it all and lost it all, King Amaziah of Judah. And his story really makes you wonder about something. I mean, think about that for a second. Can success actually be more dangerous than failure? Let's just keep that question parked in the back of our minds as we walk through this. Because the story of Amaziah is a masterclass in how winning can sometimes be the first step toward losing everything. Okay, let's get into it. So who was this guy, Amaziah? Well, he takes the throne of Judah when he's just 25. And right out of the gate, he looks like a model king. He's doing what's right in the eyes of the Lord. But, and this is a big but, this one line from the text tells you everything you need to know. It's this massive piece of foreshadowing. See, on the outside, he was checking all the boxes, doing the right things, but on the inside, something wasn't quite right. His heart wasn't fully in it. It's like a tiny crack in the foundation before the building is even finished. Okay, so check out his first big move. He goes after the officials who assassinated his father, the former king. But here's the key. He follows the law of Moses and makes sure their children are not harmed. This wasn't a personal blood feud. It was about justice. He's showing some real wisdom here. So far, so good, right? All right, so every leader gets tested. And for Amaziah, that test comes pretty early on. He's gearing up for war, and he's got this huge choice to make. A choice between what looks like a brilliant military move and a direct warning from God. To beef up his army, he hires 100,000 mercenaries from the neighboring kingdom of Israel. 100,000. I mean, on paper, this is a no-brainer. More soldiers, more power, better odds of winning. Makes perfect sense. And we're not talking about a small amount of cash here. He paid them 100 talents of silver. This was a massive investment, a serious chunk of the kingdom's entire treasury. So the financial stakes for him are just incredibly high. And just when he's got all his ducks in a row, a prophet shows up. And the message he brings is, honestly, terrifying. He tells Amaziah, straight up, "The Lord is not with Israel. If you go into battle with these guys, you are going to lose. It doesn't matter how strong you are." So what's the first thing Amaziah asks? It's exactly what you or I would ask. What about all that money I just spent? And the prophet's answer is just, it's pure faith. He basically says, the Lord can give you way more than that. So there's the choice. Trust the money you can see or trust the promise you can't. And this is probably his finest hour. He actually does it. He listens. He dismisses the 100,000 soldiers and sends them packing, completely writing off that huge investment. It's a massive, massive act of obedience and faith. And of course, this act of faith pays off, big time. He goes to war and he wins a spectacular victory. But this, right here, is where the whole story pivots. His greatest success becomes the very thing that completely ruins him. I mean, this victory was a blowout. In the Valley of Salt, his army takes down 10,000 Edomites and captures another 10,000. He is on top of the world. At this moment, he is the living, breathing proof that if you obey God, you win. And then, he does something so completely bizarre it almost doesn't make sense. After wiping the floor with the Edomites and seeing for himself that their gods were totally useless, he brings their idols back home and starts worshiping them. It's just, wow, a shocking, absolutely fatal turn. The prophet shows up again, and you can almost hear the disbelief in his voice. He asks this painfully logical question, why on earth are you praying to gods that couldn't even save their own people from you? And that's it, right there. That heart that was never whole was now totally poisoned by the pride he got from his victory. So now he's just drunk on his own success, not listening to anyone. And that pride pushes him to make an absolutely catastrophic mistake. He decides he's going to pick a fight with someone much, much bigger. He sends a message to King Jehoash of Israel. Yep, the same kingdom whose soldiers he just paid and sent home. It's pure, uncut arrogance. He's thinking, I won once, I must be invincible, and he wants to prove it. And the reply he gets back from King Jehoash is, well, it's one of the best takedowns in the entire historical record. He tells him this little story about a thistle, a weed, puffing out its chest and challenging a giant, mighty cedar tree. And then a wild animal comes by and just squashes the thistle without even noticing. The message couldn't be clearer. Don't be an idiot. Go home before you get hurt. But of course, Amaziah doesn't listen. Pride has totally plugged his ears and blinded his eyes. He marches his army off to this fight he was warned away from, and the fallout is, well, it's swift and it's brutal. I mean, just look at how fast things fall apart. First, his army gets totally crushed. Then he himself is captured. The king of Israel literally drags him back to his own capital city, tears down a huge chunk of Jerusalem's defensive wall just to humiliate him, and then loots the temple and the palace for good measure before heading home. It is a total public shaming. And amazingly, he lives for another 15 years after this disaster. But his reign is over. He's a king in name only, a shadow. And eventually, his own people have had enough. A conspiracy starts up right there in Jerusalem. He has to flee for his life, but they hunt him down and kill him. What a way to go, from a righteous king to a fugitive assassinated by his own men. So let's just tie this all together. What we have here is a man who passed a really, really hard test of faith, only to completely fail the test of success. The very victory that God gave him puffed him up with so much pride that he turned his back on that same God. And that arrogance led directly and tragically to his ruin. And that's why Amaziah's story is such a powerful warning, even for us today. It really forces you to look at your own life, at your own successes, and ask a pretty tough question. At what point does that good, healthy confidence cross the line and become a dangerous, fatal pride? The kind of pride that makes you stop listening and starts you on the path to your own downfall.